Hello from Tennessee. It's time for another ramble. Before I get started, I'm going to ask y'all to watch Jeff McMahon's latest video. I'm going to link it in the description down below. He talks about what a watch absolutist is. And I'm going to kind of bounce off that a little bit and continue the discussion. Okay, so before I get started, I wanted to paraphrase some of Jeff's points on what a watch absolutist is. A watch absolutist is somebody who shames people, has no room for dissent, is a know-it-all, is knowledgeable but not a teacher. It's more important for them to be right or have their point of view be prescribed to. And shortly after I watched that video this morning, what I thought of was, or the question that I had was, can a watch absolutist, as defined by Jeff in my attempt to kind of paraphrase, can that person be an enthusiast? My first instinct to that was no. So I dug a little deeper. And what I did is I looked up the definition of enthusiast. So an enthusiast is one who is ardently, very enthusiastically or passionately attached to a cause, an object, a watch, or a pursuit, a watch hobby. So by virtue of that definition there, I had to rethink my answer to the question, because the answer is yes. You can be those things. You can be those things that an enthusiast is and be a watch absolutist. However, I think what it comes down to, and this is the point that I kind of want to dig into and talk a little bit more about, is what type of enthusiast do you want to be? Or do I want to be? I think that is the ultimate question. So when I started to look at Jeff's video and when I saw the title, I was fairly certain that at some point through his video he would talk about, or at least mention, watch snob. To his credit, he never did. And I gave that a little bit of thought. Now remember, the question is, what type of enthusiast do you want to be? I don't want to be a watch snob. However, with that being said, I think that that term, or when you talk about a watch snob, I've heard terms before about reverse watch snob too as well. So the absolutist is not someone, in my view, that is either a Rolex owner or higher owner of watches. They can fit into any subcategory or any value of watches too as well, for numerous reasons. So you can be a lover of affordable watches and still be an absolutist because you are so bent on that's the only way to go. Like, why would you spend so much money on a watch? And vice versa, obviously, too as well. So with that being said, are those subsets of people there what I would consider an enthusiast? And I think I've answered that question already, right? However, so they can be enthusiasts, but what type of enthusiast? And more importantly, what type of enthusiast do I want to be? So to back up a little bit, I did a video a while back, which I'll link down below, that talked about being a watch scholar. So check that out if you choose to. I think it gives a little bit of insight into the way that I think about things too as well. Hopefully I provided enough context, and I'm just going to kind of go off the cuff a little bit and ramble a little bit like I like to do. The thing for me, again, is being introspective and thinking about the type of enthusiast I want to be. And for me, I want to be the type of enthusiast that enjoys, yes, watches, but enjoys the hobby in terms of the people you meet along the way, the fellow travelers you meet along the way. If you think about traveling, right? Nobody goes nobody goes on a trip. Well, that might not be totally true, but generally nobody goes on a trip with people that they don't like, right? Usually you have a travel mate, generally it's your spouse, that you enjoy that journey with. So I think that watch collecting, and for me the type of enthusiast I want to be, are people that I can enjoy the journey with. Seeing somebody like Jeff enjoy that Captain Willard watch, him being transparent and indicating like that's the most he spent on a watch, I truly am happy for someone who can attain that. I hang with a bunch of guys, we've got a pretty tight-knit group, we chat a lot, and we share our journey with each other. We are traveling down that road, right? And so I truly get excited when somebody that I consider a friend especially has something coming in the mail. You know, they have something that they save for, something that they researched, something that they lamented about, so to speak, that they've stressed about. It can be something that's tough to get, like a Zellos watch, where you've got to make sure that you hit it right away so that you can get it before they sell out. Or it can be something on the higher end that you save for, and you're like, oh goodness, should I be spending that money? But that's part of their individual journey. But for me, as a fellow traveler and enthusiast, I want to support that. I want to be a cheerleader for those folks. And those are the types of people I migrate around, that we can cheerlead. So it's like the cheerleading enthusiast, right? We're going to be happy for folks when they get their stuff, because we know it's going to cycle around, and then we're going to be in that spot when we're getting cheered on too as well. That's the type of atmosphere that I really enjoy being in, and the one that I searched for the last year and a half to be part of. That is so vitally important to me. And it doesn't happen overnight. For you all that are maybe newer to the hobby, I guess, being in it a year and a half now, I guess I'm not new. I don't know what classifies. I can still consider myself new because I really know next to nothing. However, in terms of the community that you get involved in, and the relationships that you make, those are so vitally important as we travel along on this watch hobby. As enthusiasts, right? And that's the type of enthusiast that I want to be, because it's the watches, and I've said this a bunch of times, the watches are absolutely secondary. Yes, it is the thing brought us together. It's the thing as enthusiasts, it's that object that brought us together. However, what binds us together, it's not the watches. It's the distraction, perhaps, of doing something else. That's away from whatever our normal life is like too as well, but it is one of those things. It's really hard to explain, but that sense of belonging is so important. And I think for some reason the watch community, from what I see, after you filter out some of those, and I'm not going to name names of places or anything, that's not the whole point of this, but those absolutist type of venues, after you filter through those as a new enthusiast and you find your place, don't get sucked into that junk. Find your place, move along. Give people some grace, of course. People are going to have bad days. Like, allow them to do their thing a little bit. But at the same token, if it's not a positive environment, then you really just need to move on from that, in my view. So that's it. Just another ramble. As I always, like, subscribe, and I would really love some more engagement on this. I think it's a great topic. I hope I made sense. It's a little hard to unpack that, so hopefully I set it up. But please continue the discussion. And as always, guys, stay positive, make friends, and enjoy the journey. I'll catch y'all real soon. Take care.